This is the commentary box.
To me, tweeting was something that birds did.
Dilly din, dilly dong, come on!
Éder vai aguentar bem, Costiel e falta apoio ali sobre o lado direito, sai remate e o gol!
From a yard out, he couldn't hit a bound over the banjo.
And the celebrations begin.
Hello and welcome to the commentary box. Of course, you're joined by me, Sam, and of course, Jake.
Yes, hello people.
How are you today?
I'm very good. I'm excited for this one after a very good episode last week. I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit longer, but if you haven't already, definitely go watch it.
Yes, and you can check that out on YouTube if you would like, which is, you can just type in the commentary box and we'll hopefully be there. So, today we are going to be talking about the FA Cup and kind of the decisions surrounding the FA Cup, including VAR and of the offside rule. And we'll also be looking at the past Champions League results, and we'll be looking forward to the next few days of Champions League action. But with no further ado, we shall be getting on to the FA Cup.
Yes, so we had 3 days of FA Cup. We had the Friday, which we had Chelsea with quite a comfortable victory, a 4-0 win over Hull. I saw something online which had about... it was, I think David Myler had a penalty, and as he went to take the penalty, I think Willian went up to him. I don't know if you've seen this, Sam. But
yes, I have,
he said something like...
you're going to miss.
Yeah, or Willie's going down the middle, he stayed strong or something. And Caballero ended up saving the penalty, and after he was just like, I told you.
Yeah, it was a bit cheeky, you know?
It was a bit. I don't know if you remember before about, who was it, Bournemouth player... The one, Harry Arter, I think a Watford player was on the edge of the box and he was about to shoot against Bournemouth, and Harry Arter called for the ball.
Yeah. And
the Watford player stopped because he was like, oh, okay, my teammate's got it. And then obviously it turned out to be Arter, and then he just got the ball from possession.
So then it's going to be a foul, surely.
I guess.
I guess you're kind of with the penalty situation. It's a dead ball, and you're kind of just psyching them out. But I guess goalkeepers do that when they kind of make themselves look big, etc. It's just words, and I guess it probably didn't get into Myler's head, and he probably didn't affect him. But he did miss the penalty in the end. But it wouldn't have made a difference, really.
No. Big comfortable victory at home there. Then we went on to Leicester beating Sheffield United at home with a Vardy goal. Then on to Saturday's results, we had Brighton with a 3-1 victory against Coventry. So Coventry, one of the lower league sides, still in the cup, who got knocked out.
With that, Zoa got his first goal back at Brighton as well.
Yeah, he's back on loan, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And Locadia, is that? I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it.
Probably.
From the Eredivisie, got his first goal in the Premier League. And did you know my sister and her boyfriend saw him at Nando's the evening after the match? Sadly, they didn't get a photo, but they did see him in Nando's.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, it is.
Then West Brom lost 2-1 at home to Southampton, but Sonal Rondon, a sort of very, very good goal. I was just showing Sam before we came on air, and it sort of comes over from the right-hand side, takes it on his left foot, he hits it, real power, and it just sort of one of those ones where he hits it and it goes away from the goalkeeper onto the left-hand side of the goal. Really good finish there. Then, Sam, to your team, you had a away day at Sheffield Wednesday, a 0-0 draw, so a replay. Maybe slightly disappointing that you're drawing, but not too bad.
Yeah, I think it was a good match. Carvajal, going back to his old club, that he was there for 2 years, and interestingly, he was actually saying to the press he still feels that's his home, because it's been so short of amount of time since he was manager. So he still kind of feels like it's his home. And also, he was saying before the match in an interview that when he was at Sheffield Wednesday, he got them to 2 playoffs, 1 playoff final, 1 playoff semi-final, and he really thought this year he would have got them promoted. But I think he was saying that he had so many injuries. I think it was 9 of the players that played for him in the playoff losing side last season against Huddersfield were injured in the start of this season, so he kind of couldn't control that, and that's eventually why he kind of said to the board, look, there's so many injuries, I don't think I can do anything, you're gonna have to get a new man in to kind of like rejuvenate the squad. So it was kind of mutual consent. But it was interesting to see him go back and get such a good support from the Sheffield Wednesday fans.
No, that was good. Then we had an interesting game in Rochdale where it ended up being 2-2. But it went 1-0 Rochdale, and then Lucas Moura, presumably his first goal, I would have thought.
Yes, he looked very good. Very pacey. I didn't realise how pacey he was, because his build, it looks like he should be kind of a player that kind of sits kind of behind the striker, feeding the player. But he kind of made some really good, decent runs with quite pacey runs. And I think he got taken off in the 70th or something minute. I think they just wanted to protect him, because I think he's only made 5 appearances off the bench for PSG this season. So they were kind of getting him in gently into the Tottenham team.
And then there was a late penalty for Harry Kane in the 88th minute. There's a little thing about Dele Alli winning this, maybe going over softly or something, but the manager after the game saying something like, if he did it for England, he would still support him or something. So sort of maybe saying not that he was cheating or anything, but that it was light.
But he felt contact, I think.
Yeah. I think there was something. I didn't watch it personally, but from the reports, it seemed like that was it. And then Davis getting a 90+3 minute for Rochdale, earning a draw and then a replay. That is Tottenham Hotspur.
What the FA Cup is all about. It was just brilliant. Got the ball. Such a good first touch and just slices it in. It was it happened so quickly, and it was just absolutely brilliant to see. And I think that's what the FA Cup's all about. Of course, tonight, we got a match tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, we got a match tonight at 5-8, which is Wigan versus Manchester City.
Which is a rerun of the 2011 final, isn't it? I think.
Yes, I remember that question as well with the Ben Watson finish.
Yeah, that was a previous question that I asked Jake on one of our previous podcasts.
Yes, so then we got the replays for those draws. Swansea versus Sheffield United on the 27th and Tottenham versus Rochdale on 28th.
Yeah. And then Manchester United Huddersfield. See, we've been leaving that till last, really, with the FA Cup, haven't we?
Yeah, because there's a bit of a story with this one. So I didn't watch it, but I heard a lot about it online especially. And it ended up being 2-0 to Manchester United. It was at Huddersfield, and there was a big decision with someone's goal, and there was an offside or a potential offside, and there was a run just being made, and I think it was Schindler was the last defender back. It might have been Mata, maybe the last player going through. Ashley Young was playing a ball through.
A very nice ball, a very, very nice ball.
And it wasn't given offside.
Initially, it was given offside.
Initially, it was, but then it got overruled by VAR.
No.
Was it?
No. Basically, the linesman flagged him offside.
Okay.
But then it went to VAR just to make sure. And what happened was VAR, there were squiggly lines. So normally, if we see on the picture the straight lines kind of showing offside, but when the picture came up, all the lines were squiggly. They were kind of like bent and everywhere, and they weren't even in line with the pitch, which kind of for VAR is not very good, because it's already kind of, people aren't very willing to try it, and this kind of proves to those people that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But it's just a technical hitch. It shouldn't have happened. But
what was it given in the end?
It was in the end, I think the referee kind of made up his own mind and said because the player's knee was.
Then it was
offside,
given offside.
It was given offside.
Sorry, no, I messed that up a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was originally given offside. They looked at it, VAR, and there was a big problem where they were just saying basically the lines weren't straight. They weren't even aligned with the pitch at all, and it eventually like Sam said, the ref said it was offside because of the knee, and then that brought us to come up with a poll on Twitter because we were intrigued to see what people view, because it is one of those areas in football where potentially it's a grey area, and we just need a rule to be set out there just to sort of confirm it. So we did put a tweet out and we said, does the offside rule need to be changed so there needs to be daylight between the attacker and defender for the attacker to then be offside? And we had yes, no, and there would be a different change to the rule. And at first I didn't vote on this because I didn't know what I would vote. I didn't know where I sort of sat on it. We had 9 votes in the end, so we had 33% saying yes, there does need to be daylight, and there was 67% which won it, which was basically saying no. And I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, well, with offside, I understand that, the basic rule is if the attacker is beyond the last defender, yes, he's offside. But I was thinking, well, how can we make it more sort of objective? Because a lot of these days it comes down to a linesman choosing. If we're lucky enough to have VAR in the FA Cup being trialled, then they look at it sometimes. And even then, it's still a bit subjective and whether, are we going the whole body or are we going for daylight in between? And I think, Sam, you were saying about you agree with having daylight between?
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that there should be daylight between the defender and the attacker, because in a lot of these situations, the assistant referee is having to kind of guess.
Yeah.
Because if you're an assistant referee, can you really see if someone's knee is offside or someone's toes are offside and give that call with like 100% certainty? No, you can't. You're kind of just guessing, and if you make the right decision, it's kind of, okay, you did all right there, making the right decision, but most of the time it's just guesswork. And I think the whole point of the rule was to stop goal hanging, from people kind of like staying near the other side of the goal and kind of just making sure defenders had to be so far back. But now it's kind of come a rule where it's just like, he's not really offside, his toes offside, that's just him making a better run than the defender kind of marking him. So of course there still needs to be an offside rule, no doubt about that, but I just think it would be better if it was daylight between the players, so if someone's made a good run, they won't be penalised by it.
Yeah, and because I saw this and I'm picking up my own mind. I think in football, especially with things like penalties, I think there needs to be a definitive line. I think they need to say, this is a penalty, this isn't, this is offside, this isn't. So whether they change the rule in how they do it, I don't mind, but I just hopefully they do. So I think one option obviously is we could just have, every time the linesman isn't sure, we go to VAR and we look at it, and you could have a definitive line and say anything over that line of the last defender, he's offside. But I was thinking about it, I thought, that's very unfair if your hand's there or your knee and the players had it. So I'm thinking, a way they could have it is they could have with your waist. So in 100-metre sprints, when they run, it's their chest or just below or their torso, somewhere like that. Where as they run over a line, they lean forward, and that then stops their time of how long they've run. So what they could have is they could potentially have, looking at it, if the linesman isn't sure, they could look at VAR and they could say, look, your waist, you can't lean it forward and back. It's not like an arm you can stretch out, or a leg or a head or something like that. It sort of is your main centre body line. So in theory, if you've got a defender next to you and your waist, part of your waist, any part of it is in line with the defender, I would say yes, you're onside, because you're still in line with the defender. It's not like, I'm standing next to him, I've got my arm out, that's in line with him, that counts. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying having your waist, which is your main part of your body, in line with a defender would then count you as onside, because you could be turned to run, or you could be flat on, or however your run is making, which you'll then be going to an offside position, that's completely fine. But I think the waist could be an idea on how to do it. It'd be interesting to see if anything comes out from the FA. Unlikely, but it would be nice.
Yeah, it's a good debate to have, and interesting to see people's opinions on that.
Yeah, I think because it's quite an important matter. And
matter.
Yes.
Matter, yeah. Sorry.
Deliberate.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things which is quite interesting, and it's sort of deserved to happen.
Yeah.
But I think that sort of rounds up our little FA Cup and VAR bit. But just to go towards the fixtures for that. So Saturday, 17th of March, and we got all 3 o'clock kickoffs. Leicester versus Chelsea, Manchester United versus Brighton, and then we have Sheffield Wednesday or Swansea against Rochdale or Tottenham, and then Manchester City or Wigan versus Southampton. So looking at that, Sam, just a little prediction. The main big teams in there, you've got City, Spurs, United, Chelsea. Who's your favourites? Or Swansea, sorry.
Well, I'm going to say for the FA Cup in general, I think Leicester City are a sneaky kind of
You reckon?
idea to have as a potential at least finalists. I think they could get past Chelsea. Other than that, I think Tottenham will do well. Manchester City obviously will do well. It'd be interesting some semi-finals to see who gets around the sixth round.
Definitely, I think it's a big game. I can see Leicester beating Chelsea, like you said. I think United will be a comfortable win against Brighton. Whoever the result of the Swansea or Wednesday, I'm not sure they're going to beat Tottenham, and I'm sure Tottenham will beat Rochdale to get to that stage. City will probably beat Wigan and then Southampton. So no, it'd be 4 big teams.
Yeah.
I can see City going all the way. and like you said, I can see Leicester creeping up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that ends our segments of those, and now we are going to go on to the Champions League. So our last episode, we were sort of doing a around the ground sort of atmosphere, weren't we? I was checking the results. Obviously, the big game we were all talking about was the Northampton Gillingham 2-1 Gills result.
Yeah, because we were recording it on Tuesday, the 13th of February. So there's lots of games on in League 1 and 2, with a few Championship games, and of course there was a round of 16 games in Champions League with Basel playing Manchester City and Juventus playing Tottenham. So we had Jake go around the grounds. He was quite well travelled on Tuesday night. Yeah, in the end,
a lot of jet lag, but no, got there again. So just to sum up those, we had Juventus drawing 2-2 with Tottenham. Very good comeback from Tottenham Hotspur to get back into that, with then the second leg being at home at Wembley.
It should be interesting.
I think Tottenham will have a good chance of that.
But it was very interesting because Juventus hadn't conceded at home in about 17 games before that, which is remarkable, seeing that they then just conceded 2 against Tottenham. And I don't think lots of Juventus fans were thinking that Tottenham would be that good. So it was very interesting to see that result.
Indeed. And then we had Basel losing 4-0 to Manchester City. I think probably sending Manchester City through to the next round.
And that was a British record, I think, or at least an English record for most away goals in a Champions League game, which was then broken by Liverpool the following day, actually.
Interesting, yeah, because then we had Porto 0, Liverpool 5, Sadio Mane hat-trick, and a very dominant display there. Definitely, I would say I put money on sending them through. Didn't we have last year in the Champions League? It was PSG and Barcelona. I can't remember the score in the first game,
but it was pretty big.
It was a really high lead from PSG, and then Barcelona turned it around to win like 7-5 on aggregate or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then Paris Saint-Germain threw away a 1-0 lead at the San Siro, not at San Siro, at the Bernabeu, with Rabiot getting on the score sheet for Paris Saint-Germain, but then Ronaldo and Marcelo getting the goals between them for a Real Madrid victory 3-1.
Okay, 2 late goals there. So then we look onto the fixtures. So these got tomorrow, and we've got Chelsea at home to Barcelona. We did touch on it a little bit last week, but what are your thoughts on this, Sam? You know, Chelsea not doing great in the league, Conte under a little bit of pressure, Hazard doing all right in recent games, in all fairness. But Barcelona obviously incredible form, leading La Liga by, I think it's
a lot of points,
15 at least, a lot of points.
I think this will be a walkover for Barcelona. I really do. I think we've seen much better Chelsea sides than this. This is a very poor Chelsea side at the moment, not in terms of players, but the way they're playing is just not very, very good, really. And I think Barcelona will punish them. I know Conte's never had a very good record in Europe, and so I don't see Chelsea really getting past Barcelona either at home or away.
I think I could agree with that pretty much. Then we got Bayern Munich versus Besiktas. I'm going to obviously predict a Munich victory here. I think it's quite clear. Munich, they've lost that touch, I feel, a little bit when they used to have that, that Robin, that Ribéry, Lewandowski. Obviously, I know they still play, but not as much as they did.
Yeah, I think, of course, they sacked Ancelotti before Christmas this year and got in a past manager, and they've looked a lot better, and they've kind of secured the Bundesliga, which was looking on the threat from Dortmund in the early parts of the season. But now they're kind of just going back into the routine of things, of becoming that, that constantly good side. And I think they should see Besiktas off. I mean, Besiktas have done very well in recent years in Europe, but I think Besiktas sadly will probably lose to Bayern Munich.
Yes, and then on to Wednesday's fixtures, which will be playing as we release the podcast, and that is Seville at home to Manchester City. I can see Seville getting a goal.
Manchester United, sorry.
Yes, sorry, I misread that. Seville onto Manchester United, and yeah, I can see Seville getting a goal or two, but I think United will win that in the end. May not comfortably.
Nzonzi, Chef Seville.
Have they? Yeah. I don't think Nzonzi's going to do it, but I think with United, I don't think they're going to win it comfortably. I know when they played in the Europa League. Did they win Europa League?
Manchester United have won the Europa League last year.
Yeah, and I remember
and Seville won it 3 times in a row before that.
it might have been the final or the semi-final. I don't know who they played. I remember watching it around a friend's house, and they just never really seemed that dominant. They never really had that, that path Manchester United. It's sort of that current City style where you play City, they go a goal up or two, bang, game dead. With United, it's not more slow, laborious process. They do always get there in the end pretty much, but I think Seville will have a chance with the style of football that Manchester United play. Maybe a counter-attack or two, which could work well, and Nzonzi could go on the score sheet as well with that. Then on to our last game, which will be Shakhtar Donetsk versus Roma, and I'll let Sam with his Italian knowledge.
Well, I think it'll be a Roma victory. I think it'll be well fought though, because Shakhtar Donetsk obviously are one of the only teams this year to beat Manchester City.
Yeah, I was going to say they beat City
2-0, I think it was. So it'll be an interesting game between Roma and Shakhtar Donetsk. I think it's one of the games that people aren't going to be looking at really because there's such big fixtures otherwise. But I think it'll be an interesting game. I'll definitely be watching it on Wednesday night, and be interesting to see who wins that one.
Yeah, so that seems like our Champions League sort of round all wrapped up. So last week I asked Sam a question. I will just get the answer up just so I don't forget. And the question was, who has scored the most Premier League goals in one season? And a little bonus if Sam can guess how many goals they are. So we had some thinking over this, Sam.
Let me just. I'll go through my thought process. Okay, so I was thinking about Alan Shearer potentially, Luis Suarez.
True.
Those two players. Aguero. I don't know how many he's got though as his best. Obviously, got to think about Wayne Rooney, Carlos Tevez, Berbatov, Robin van Persie.
There's a lot of strikers out there.
There is Didier Drogba, but I'm going to say Luis Suarez. I think his season with Liverpool, with Sturridge and Sterling up front, I think he did really well that season, and I think he got about 31 goals. I want to say.
Yeah, the answer is 31 for the goals, and if I'm right in saying, I'm pretty sure Alan Shearer was top.
Yeah.
In by one single player, and I think Cristiano Ronaldo was up there. Yeah, he was, and Luis Suarez.
So I got one.
I'll give you that, as you did get one, but there were three potential. I'm surprised you didn't mention Ronaldo, but when I was thinking about it, I thought Ronaldo did well, but I didn't realise he scored that many goals.
Nah, I didn't realise he scored that many goals for Manchester United. I know his scoring record for Real Madrid has been insane, apart from this season where he's kind of dropped off a bit. But I didn't realise that. Of course, I've said Alan Shearer as well, and I said Luis Suarez. I'm really pleased I got the amount of goals as well. It was a complete guess.
Good. I get the point. So the scores on the table right now is 2-1 to me. I can't remember how many we've done. Maybe. Like 2 or 3 each, but if you do want to get involved in any of that, any questions at all, at Box Commentary, or if you prefer to email us, you can look at thecommentary.box.contact@gmail.com. We are looking into the process of potentially getting onto SoundCloud. That could be an option in the near future.
Or other methods. If you know any other methods that we can kind of show our podcast, please do send an email or drop us a tweet. Be much obliged, because we just want to get our name out there. But before we end, I've got my question. And my question is kind of European themed, since that we've been talking about Champions League. And the question is, which country has won the most European Cup finals in terms of like their clubs located within them?
Okay, is that Champions League, or is that Champions League and Europa?
Champions League.
Champions League.
So we're talking about European Cup as well in the past.
Yeah, interesting. Well, interesting. I will think about that, and we will go through that next week. Yes, so that seems like the end of our podcast today, and I enjoyed that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Of course, thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed it. We certainly have, as always. If you want to get in contact, I think Jake just mentioned it then, you can contact us through Twitter at Box Commentary, or via email, which is thecommentary.box.contact@gmail.com. See you next week, really. So, see ya.
See you then.